I am going to call this a prophetic outline because I don't know what else to call it. And I'm going to start by saying that the next thing that's supposed to happen in God's calendar, the one thing that I am expecting, is the rapture. However, the rapture can't happen until this next prophecy is fulfilled. According to 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, 1 through 4, there will be no rapture, no assembly to meet him, unless the rebellion or the apostasy comes first. And the man of iniquity, the man of lawlessness, the son of perdition is revealed. There is a person, a character, that has the names that I just mentioned, who's going to play a very important role in the prophecies to come. That man has to be revealed. To who? To the church, to the world, but not as the son of perdition or the man of lawlessness or the son of perdition. To them, he's going to be revealed as somewhat of a Messiah, a false Christ. Now, I want to let you know that the rebellion did come first. And we are already in the rebellion, in the apostasy. The apostasy does not happen outside in the world. It happens within the church. The history of the church, and I paraphrase, is that there was an established religion called the Christian religion. And then a group went against that religion and said, you know what? We're not going to worship like you worship. Catholic Church, the Protestant movement, Martin Luther and his theses, he nails them to the door of the monastery. And there is a rift of doctrinal Christian belief that makes the church separate. Meanwhile, in high places, the kings, the monarchs, and the Pope play a game of chess and use the power of religion to manipulate the masses. As the people are searching and seeking God in a new revelation, someone in political power will manipulate that revelation, just like the Pope manipulated that revelation. The Vatican is also a world government. The Bible defines it as Babylon. Interesting. Babylon comes into effect soon in the world of biblical revelation. The Apostle John, in his first epistle, writes and says that many antichrists have gone into the world. I see this as the rebellion, the apostasy, because apostasy is something that has to happen within a person first. It's like the opposite of a revival. An apostasy is a revival for the wrong spirit. And the Apostle John writes and he says, they went out from us, but they were not of us. For if they had been of us, they would have continued with us. But they went out that it may be plain that they are not of us. Not of us. Of what? Of our belief, of our representation of Jesus the Christ, the Son of the living God. We are the body of Christ, and they came out of us and become the body of Antichrist. An attitude proclaiming to be Christians. Proclaiming to be Christians. They take upon themselves t-shirts that will speak to their ears because they have itching ears. And they rather be vain and lovers of self and greedy and lovers of power than lovers of God. Therefore, God allows a spirit of delusion to come upon them, that they may believe a lie. And multitudes became the spirit of Antichrist, a religious yet political entity. First time in history, because what happened with the Protestants and the Catholics continued to happen through history. From the Protestants, the Anabaptists, from the Anabaptists, another group, from this group, 3 more groups. And the church, the Christian church, the history of the Christian church is that a group sees a different revelation, separates from the original group, then that group suffers another division, and those 2 groups are divided again, because as people receive a revelation, they claim falsely that their revelation is the only one that's right, as if one revelation could define the God of the universe. This is usually what happens. The church splits, one group leaves, and the church from which they left persecutes the ones that left. That has happened throughout history of the Christian world. Why? Because the group from which they came out had the political power. They had kings, and kings have the power of the church. And it was all a conspiracy, if you want to call it that. It's the truth of our history. But in the apostasy, in the rebellion, it's the first time we see that a group comes out from us, because they were not of us, and they come out with a spirit of Antichrist, with an apostasy, and they turn around and confront everyone and anyone who doesn't believe like we believe, because we're the real Christians and we're patriots. They came out from us, but they were never from us. Now, this is all happened simultaneously with the revelation of the first beast of the apocalypse coming into power. In chapter 13 of the book of Revelation, it says, and I paraphrase again, that a first beast comes into power, that his worship is amazing, who is like the beast, who can stand against him. And this first beast is destined to have his image worshipped, his face, his logo, his name. That's the destiny of this first beast. And this is how it happens. After this first beast suffers a mortal wound, he is resurrected by a second beast, a false prophet, who has the power to bring fire from heaven in the presence of men. I imagine it will be televised, because the revolution will be televised. It is being televised. The revolution and the book of Revelations. Now this man suffers, the first beast, a mortal wound. He is resurrected by a false prophet, also known as the second beast, who has the power to work miracles and wonders, and even makes fire come down from heaven in the sight of men. Then the second beast decides that he wants everybody to worship the first beast, the beast whom he resurrected. They want to worship his image. The image of the beast, the first one, must be worshipped. And it will be enforced worshipped, because he will demand that the image of the first beast be worshipped, and that his mark will be forced by coercion and manipulation to be stamped in the foreheads or the right hand, all who wish to do any type of commerce, since without this mark you can neither buy nor sell. He's going to manipulate commerce internationally by stamping this mark, demanding that they stamp the mark of the first beast, which is his name. Some versions say 666. The number of his name is 666. Other versions say 616. It's intriguing. I favor 666 because that's the one everybody knows. But it is not a number. It's a name. This character wants everything to have his name. His name on everything. His image on everything. That is his nature. The man of lawlessness. That's why I like to call him. And he has to be manifested before our assembly to meet him, before the rapture. And this is all happening. Meanwhile, according to 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 verse 4, this man will eventually exalt himself over every so-called God or object of worship. And he wants to take his seat in the temple of God, proclaiming himself to be God. This is, in my belief, the abomination sacrifice spoken of by the prophet Daniel, or a repercussion of that prophecy, where this man is going to finagle his way closer and closer to Jerusalem, so that when the third temple is built, he will sit in the Holy of Holies, in the throne of God. That has always been the desire of Satan since the prophecy in Isaiah 14. How have you fallen from heaven, O day star, son of dawn? You said in your heart, I will ascend to heaven above the stars of God. I will set my throne on high. I will sit on the mount of assembly in the far north. I will ascend above the clouds. I will make myself like the Most High. Satan has always wanted God's throne. He accomplished it in the garden when he took the throne from man's heart, which is the position that Jesus restored by the cross and the resurrection, and sat at the right of the Father. And we're faithfully and justifiably sitting with him in that position. But Satan still wants the throne of God. And since he knows he can't accomplish that in the heavens, he's going to try to accomplish that on the earth. That is his final desire. He says how he's going to prove himself to himself. Meanwhile, back in chapter 6 of the book of Revelations, where this all began, in the 7 seals. The first seal, if you remember, was a white horse, and there was a man on the horse with a crown, and it was given to him the crown and a bow, and he went out conquering and to conquer. This man, actually, this spirit, because this is not people, these are spirit. However, the spirit of this first seal in the book of Revelation chapter 6, I believe, manifests itself in the beast and the false prophet. and in the apostasy, went out conquering and to conquer. The second horse is a bright red horse, and he has been given power. The rider of the horse has been given power to take peace from the earth. He's a spirit of war. He wants conflict. The third seal is a black horse, and its rider has a balance in his hands, and he brings economic distress upon the world. The rider of this, the motivation of this seal, of this rider of this black horse, is to create economic chaos in the world. Then the fourth seal is open, and behold, a pale horse, and its rider's name was Death. Interesting that this is the only rider that is given a name. The rider in the pale horse is Death, and he's been given power over a fourth of the earth to kill, with sword, with famine, and with pestilence, and by the wild beasts of the earth. It's interesting that later in this book, a third of the world, a third of the fauna, a third of the oceans, a third of the people, thirds are destroyed, and every island disappears from the face of the planet. That's in the book of Revelations also. But this rider, Death, is given power only over a fourth of the earth. I consider this like in the days of Noah. Jesus spoke of this in Matthew 24. As it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be in the days of the coming of the Lord, where there is violence, senseless violence manifested. And we see that all over the world. Also, death by animals, and with famine, and with pestilence. The one about the beasts of the earth calls my attention because I see it more and more. More and more. Wild animals who have been robbed of their habitat are coming closer and closer into where you and I live. There's more people having encounters with wild animals than ever before, and this pale horse is being manifested throughout the whole world. Remember, it's a spirit, not necessarily a person. But when he opened the fifth seal is persecution. As the beast and the false prophet increase in their power with their spirit of Antichrist, it will force a persecution. And according to the Apostle Paul, everything that happens to the people of God happened to the Jew first and then the Gentile. That is the order of God. Salvation is for the Jew first and then the Gentile. Persecution, which has always existed, but now more than ever is beginning to take a political, religious connotation. Persecution, the Jew first, and then the Church of Jesus, then the Christians. Now, I'm going to say this, and I'll put this out there. If I have to die for Christ, it will be a privilege. But I will not die for a political party, especially one that does not represent the Jesus of the Bible. I know who Jesus is. He's my Lord and Savior. I know what he taught. I read. And those who came out from us do not represent me. Not in the pulpit, not in the political arena. So if I am going to be persecuted, it will be because I love God, I love people. Because 2 commandments, and I'm going to close with this. The 2 commandments that should be in every school is not 10, it's 2. You shall love the Lord your God with all of your heart, all of your strength, and all of your mind. Students should read that. And the 2nd commandment is just like the first. Love your neighbor as you will love yourself. Or do unto others as you would like others to do unto you. And those 2 commandments, maybe 3, is all you need to put in schools to change the attitudes of children. Not 10 laws that will cause them to rebel. There's enough rules in schools. You don't need to put another 10. Give them 3 virtues. They all have to do with love. Love for God, allowing love in your heart, allowing God in your actions, and allowing God in your mind. It all has to do with 3 virtues or 3 loving actions. You will love with your heart. You will love with your actions, and you will love with your thoughts. And you will love your neighbor as you would like your neighbor to love you. Therefore, my actions towards you will be actions of love, not of hatred, not of enmity, not of fighting. Those are the commandments that should be in schools, because those are the commandments that should be in the hearts of everyone who claims to be a Christian, regardless of your political affiliation. Because you cannot have 2 masters. Either the Christ that died on the cross, rose from the dead and ascended into heaven and sat on the throne at the right hand of God. Either you serve that Christ or you serve the usurper, the man of iniquity, the man of lawlessness, the son of perdition, whose desire is to sit in the throne of God. Choose you this day whom you will serve. But as for me and my house, we shall serve the Lord. Thank you for listening. May God bless you. Ciao.